Silence. It's the most powerful force in the universe. The space between the notes that creates the music. The pause between the words that gives the meaning. The stillness that allows for growth. Today, we're going to dive deep into the power of silence and how it can transform your life, propel you towards your dreams, and help you achieve everything you've ever wanted. You see, in this noisy world, we've forgotten the art of being silent. We're constantly bombarded with information, opinions, and distractions. Our phones beep, our televisions blare, and our minds chatter incessantly. But I'm here to tell you that the key to unlocking your true potential lies in embracing silence. Imagine a seed planted in the ground. Does it make noise as it grows? Does it shout to the world about its progress? No! It silently pushes through the soil, stretching its roots deep into the earth, reaching for the sky with unwavering determination. And one day, without fanfare, it emerges as a mighty tree, strong and tall, a testament to the power of silent growth. You, my friends, are like that seed. Your dreams, your aspirations, your God-given purpose, they all lie dormant within you, waiting for the right conditions to flourish. And those conditions, they're found in the silence. When you embrace silence, you create space for clarity. In the quiet moments, free from the opinions of others and the noise of the world, you can hear the whispers of your own heart. You can connect with your true self, your purpose, and the divine plan for your life. But this silence isn't passive. It's not about doing nothing. No. This silence is active, purposeful, and powerful. It's about tuning out the unnecessary so you can tune into the essential. Think about the great leaders throughout history. Did they achieve greatness by constantly talking about their plans? Did they rise to power through endless chatter? No. They understood the power of silence. They knew when to speak and when to listen. They knew that true strength lies not in how much you say, but in how much you can hold back. Let me share a secret with you. The most successful people in this world are not always the loudest. They're not the ones constantly seeking attention or validation. They're the ones who work silently, diligently, consistently. They're the ones who let their actions speak louder than their words. You see, when you're silent, you're observing, you're learning, you're growing. While others are busy talking about what they're going to do, you're quietly doing it. While they're seeking approval, you're seeking progress. While they're making noise, you're making moves. But I know what some of you are thinking. How can I get ahead if I don't promote myself? How can I succeed if I don't speak up? My friends, let me assure you, your work will speak for itself. Your results will create a noise so loud that the world won't be able to ignore you. When a lion roars in the jungle, do the other animals need to ask who it is? No, they know. The lion's presence, its power, its very essence speaks volumes without a single word. That's the kind of presence I want you to cultivate. That's the kind of silent power I want you to embody. Now, I'm not saying you should never speak. Communication is important. But I'm challenging you to be intentional with your words, to speak only when it adds value, to resist the urge to fill every silence with meaningless chatter. Because in those silent moments, that's where the magic happens. In silence, you develop discipline. You learn to control your impulses, to master your emotions. In silence, you build character. You cultivate patience, perseverance, and inner strength. In silence, you connect with your higher self, with your purpose, with your creator. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young man who dreamed of becoming a great leader. He was charismatic, intelligent, and had a way with words. Everyone told him he was destined for greatness. But there was a problem. He couldn't stop talking. He shared his plans with everyone who would listen. He boasted about his future achievements. He spent more time talking about what he was going to do than actually doing it. Years passed, and while he was still talking, his peers were quietly working, learning, growing. They were putting in the hours, making mistakes in private, and steadily moving towards their goals. And one day, this young man woke up to find that the world had changed. Those quiet peers were now leaders in their fields, respected and admired. And he was still just talking. Don't let that be your story. Don't let your words overshadow your actions. Don't let the noise of your own voice drown out the whispers of wisdom that come in silence. Now, I know embracing silence isn't easy. We live in a world that values noise, a world that equates silence with weakness, with lack of confidence. But I'm here to tell you that true confidence, true strength, doesn't need to announce itself. It simply is. Think about the ocean. On the surface, it can be noisy, chaotic, full of crashing waves and howling winds. But dive deep, and what do you find? Silence. Calm. And in that silence, life thrives. The most magnificent creatures, the most beautiful coral reefs, they all exist in that quiet depth. Your life can be like that ocean. On the surface, there might be noise and chaos. But when you learn to dive deep into silence, that's where you'll find your true self, your true purpose, your true power. Now, some of you might be wondering, how do I start? How do I embrace this silence in a world that never stops talking? Well, my friends, it starts with small steps. It starts with creating pockets of silence in your daily life. Turn off the TV. Put down your phone. Close your laptop. Create spaces in your day where you're free from external input. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. Your mind might race. You might feel an urge to feel resist it. Sit with the discomfort. Because on the other side of that discomfort, start your day in silence. But before you check your messages, before you turn on the news, before you engage with the world, spend time in quiet reflection. Connect with yourself. Set your intentions for the day. Visualize your goals. This simple practice can transform your life. Practice active listening. When someone is speaking, truly listen. Don't just wait for your turn to talk. Absorb their words, reflect on them, respond thoughtfully, not reactively. You'll be amazed at how much you can learn when you're not busy formulating your next sentence. Learn to be comfortable with silence in conversations. Don't feel the need to fill every pause. Some of the most profound connections happen in those quiet moments between words. When you're working, create a quiet environment. Turn off notifications, set boundaries. Give yourself the gift of uninterrupted focus. You'll be amazed at how much more productive you become. Therefore, making important decisions, take time for silent reflection. Don't rush. Don't let the opinions of others cloud your judgment. In the silence, you'll find clarity. Now, I want to address something important. Some of you might be thinking, but I have so much to say. I have knowledge to share, ideas to express. And you're right. You do. Each one of you has a unique voice, a unique perspective that the world needs to hear. But here's the thing. When you speak from a place of silence, your words carry more weight. They have more impact. They're not just noise. Think about the great orators throughout history. Their power didn't come from how much they spoke, but from the weight of their words. They understood that each word should count, that each sentence should matter. They spoke not to hear the sound of their own voice, but to create change, to inspire action, to transform lives. You have that same power within you. But to access it, you need to cultivate silence. You need to create space between your thoughts, between your words. You need to let your ideas marinate, to let your wisdom deepen. In this age of social media and constant connectivity, we've developed a fear of missing out. We feel that if we're not constantly sharing, constantly engaging, we'll be left behind. But I'm here to tell you that the opposite. It's in the moments of disconnection that we truly connect with ourselves. It's in the pauses that we find our power. Think about the last time you had a truly original idea. Where were you? What were you doing? I bet you weren't scrolling through social media or watching TV. I bet you were in a moment of quiet reflection. Maybe you were taking a walk in nature. Maybe you were in the shower. Maybe you were just sitting quietly, letting your mind wander. You see, creativity doesn't flourish in noise. Innovation doesn't happen in chaos. They need space. They need silence. They need you to step back from the world and listen to the whispers of your own genius. Now let's talk about success. Real, lasting, meaningful success. The kind of success that doesn't just look good on paper, but feels good in your soul. The kind of success that aligns with your purpose, that fulfills your potential, that allows you to make a real difference in the world. That kind of success doesn't come from constantly hustling, from always being on, from filling every moment with activity. No, that kind of success comes from knowing who you are, what you want, and why you want it. And you can only gain that knowledge in silence. Silence, you can hear your true desires, not the desires that society has imposed on you. In silence, you can connect with your values, your principles, the core of who you are. In silence, you can envision your future with clarity and purpose. And here's the beautiful thing. When you operate from this place of silent knowing, you don't need to chase success. You don't need to struggle and strain. Success is drawn to you. Opportunities open up. The right people come into your life. Things start to flow. Why? Because you're no longer just making noise. You're no longer just going through the motions. You're moving with intention, with purpose, with a quiet confidence that is magnetic. Think about nature again. A flower doesn't struggle to bloom. A river doesn't force its way to the sea. They simply follow their nature silently, consistently, and they achieve their purpose. You're part of nature. You have that same innate wisdom, that same natural power. But to access it, you need to quiet the noise. You need to silence the doubts, the fears, the limiting beliefs that have been programmed into you. And let me tell you, when you do that, when you tap into that silent power within you, there's nothing you can't achieve. There's no dream too big, no goal too lofty. And remember, this journey into silence isn't about becoming passive. It's not about withdrawing from the world. It's about engaging with the world from a place of inner strength, inner knowing. It's about being so grounded in who you are and what you stand for that you don't need external validation. It's about being like a mountain, solid, unmovable, majestic in your silent strength. The winds of opinion may blow, the rains of criticism may fall, but you stand firm, rooted in your truth. Now, I want to address something that many of you might be feeling in this noisy world. Choosing silence can feel lonely. It can feel like you're missing out, like you're disconnecting from others. But I want you to understand that true connection, true relationship doesn't happen in noise. It happens in the spaces between the noise. Think about the people you're closest to. Your deepest conversations, your most meaningful moments, they probably didn't happen at a loud party or in a crowded room. They happen in quiet moments, in shared silences, in the unspoken understanding that passes between two souls. When you embrace silence, you're not isolating yourself. You're opening yourself up to deeper, more meaningful connections. You're creating space for real intimacy, real understanding. And here's another truth. When you're comfortable with silence, when you're grounded in your own being, you become a refuge for others. In a world that's constantly shouting, you become an oasis of calm. People are drawn to that. They're drawn to the person who doesn't need to fill every moment with words, who can sit in comfortable silence, who radiates peace. Now let's talk about leadership. True leadership isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's not about dominating every conversation or having an opinion on everything. True leadership is about knowing when to speak and when to listen. It's about creating space for others to shine. It's about being secure enough in yourself that you don't need to prove anything. But the greatest leaders in history understood this. They knew that their power didn't come from how much they said, but from how much they understood. They listened more than they spoke. They observed more than they acted. And when they did speak, their words carried weight. When they did act, their actions were decisive. You see, when you operate from a place of silence, you develop discernment. You learn to see beyond the surface to understand the deeper currents at play. You're not swayed by every opinion or thrown off course by every challenge. You have an inner compass that guides you, and that, my friends, is what the world needs right now. We don't need more noise. We don't need more empty words. We need people who are grounded, who are purposeful, who are operating from a place of inner silence and strength. Now, I want to be clear about something. Embracing silence doesn't mean you'll never face challenges. It doesn't mean life will always be smooth. But it does mean you'll have the inner resources to face those challenges with grace and resilience. When you're rooted in silence, setbacks don't devastate you. Criticism doesn't destroy you. Failure doesn't define you. Because you know who you are beyond the noise of success and failure. You're connected to something deeper, something more enduring. Think about a tree in a storm. The winds may howl. The branches may sway, but if the roots are deep, the tree stands strong. Your silence is like those roots. The deeper you go into it, the stronger you become. And here's the beautiful paradox. The more you embrace silence, the more powerful your voice becomes. When you do choose to speak, your words carry weight. They're not just adding to the noise, they're cutting through it. They're making a real impact because you're not speaking from a place of ego or insecurity. You're not speaking to prove yourself or to seek approval. You're speaking from a place of authentic power, of genuine wisdom, and people can feel that difference. They respond to it. They're moved by it. Now, I want to talk about something that many of you might be struggling with, a fear of missing out. In this age of constant connectivity, of 24/7 and endless social media feeds, there's a pervasive fear that if we're not constantly engaged, we'll fall behind. We'll miss some crucial piece of information. We lose our edge. But I'm here to tell you that the opposite is true. It's in the moments of disconnection that we truly connect with what matters. It's in the pauses that we find our power. It's in the silence that we hear the whispers of opportunity. Think about it. How many truly life-changing ideas have you had while scrolling through social media? How many profound insights have you gained from watching the news? Now compare that to the insights you've had during moments of quiet reflection, during a peaceful walk in nature, or in those twilight moments between sleep and waking. You see, when you're constantly taking in information, you're not giving yourself time to process it. You're not allowing your mind to make those unique connections that lead to true innovation. You're not giving your soul space to speak to you. And let's be honest, most of the noise out there isn't helping you. It's not making you smarter or happier or more successful. It's just keeping you distracted. It's keeping you from doing the deep, meaningful work that will truly move your life forward. So I challenge you to embrace JOMO, the joy of missing out. Find joy in disconnecting. Celebrate the moments of silence. Relish the opportunity to go deep rather than wide. Because here's the truth. You're not missing out on anything important by embracing silence. In fact, you're tuning into the most important frequency of all, the frequency of your own heart, your own purpose, your own potential. Now, some of you might be thinking, but what about ambition? What about drive? Don't we need to be hungry to be constantly striving to succeed? And you're right, ambition is important. Drive is crucial. Not true ambition, lasting drive. They don't come external noise. They come from a deep internal knowing. When you're connected to your purpose, when you're aligned with your true self, you don't need external motivators. You don't need to constantly psych yourself up. Your drive comes from a quiet, unwavering commitment to you. It's like a river flowing to the sea. It doesn't need cheerleaders. It doesn't need constant encouragement. It simply flows, consistently, persistently overcoming every obstacle in its path. Not the noisy, frantic ambition that burns out quickly, but the quiet, enduring ambition that can sustain you for a lifetime. This kind of ambition is born in silence. It's nurtured in moments of deep reflection. It's strengthened by your connection to your core values and your ultimate purpose. When you tap into this, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need constant validation or recognition. You simply do what you know you're meant to do with a quiet confidence that is unshakable. Now let's talk about creativity. In today's world, There's a lot of pressure to constantly produce, to always be coming up with the next big idea. But true creativity doesn't work that way. It needs space, it needs silence, it needs room to breathe. Think about the great artists, inventors, and innovators throughout history. They didn't create their masterpieces in the midst of chaos. They retreated. They found quiet spaces where they could hear their own thoughts, where they could connect with their inner vision. When you embrace silence, you're giving your creativity the perfect environment to flourish. You're allowing those subconscious connections to form. You're giving your mind the freedom to wander, to explore, to imagine. And here's something crucial to understand. Creativity isn't just about art or invention. It's about how you approach life. It's about finding novel solutions to problems. It's about seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. It's about crafting a life that is uniquely yours. In the silence, you can hear the whispers of your own unique genius. You can tap into ideas and insights that go beyond the conventional, beyond the expected. You become not just a consumer of culture, but a creator of it. To access this wellspring of creativity, you need to be willing to sit with the discomfort of silence. You need to resist the urge to fill every moment with noise or distraction. You need to trust that in the quiet, something beautiful is forming. Now, let's address something that many of you might be struggling with, the fear of being left behind. In our fast-paced world, there's a constant pressure to keep up, to stay ahead of the curve. But I want you to consider this. What if the real way to get ahead is to step back? What if the path to true success involves slowing down, being still, listening deeply? You see, when you're constantly reacting to the noise around you, you're playing someone else's game. You're dancing to someone else's tune. But when you embrace silence, you start to hear your own music. You start to move to your own rhythm. And here's the beautiful thing. When you're moving to your own rhythm, you're not in competition with anyone else. You're not trying to keep up or get ahead. You're simply expressing your unique essence, fulfilling your unique purpose. And in doing so, you naturally stand out. You naturally excel. Think about nature again. A rose doesn't try to be a lily. An oak doesn't compete with a pine. They simply grow into what they're meant to be. And in doing so, they contribute their unique beauty to the world. You have that same potential within you. In the silence, you can connect with your true nature. You can discover what makes you uniquely you. And when you operate from that place of authenticity, you don't need to worry about being left behind, because you're not following anyone else's path. You're forging your own. Now let's talk about resilience. Life will always have its challenges. There will always be obstacles, setbacks, moments of doubt. But when you have a practice of silence, you develop an inner strength that can weather any storm. In the quiet moments, you build a reservoir of peace that you can draw from when times get tough. You develop a perspective that allows you to see beyond the immediate challenge to the bigger picture. You cultivate a sense of self that isn't shaken by external circumstances. Think of it like this. When you're constantly surrounded by noise, it's like you're living on the surface of the ocean. Every ripple swallows you off balance. But when you practice silence, it's like you're diving deep beneath the surface. Down there, the waters are calm. The turbulence above doesn't affect you. This doesn't mean you become detached or unfeeling. On the contrary, you become more fully engaged with life. But you engage from a place of inner stability, of deep knowing. You're not tossed about by every wind of change or challenge. Then you stand firm, rooted in your silent strength. And here's something powerful. When you have this kind of resilience, you become a source of strength for others. In a world that's often chaotic and uncertain, you become a beacon of calm, a pillar of stability. People are drawn to that. They're inspired by it. They want to know your secret. But remember, this kind of resilience isn't built overnight. It's cultivated through consistent practice. It's developed by regularly returning to silence, by continually reconnecting with your inner core. It's strengthened each time you choose stillness over noise, reflection over reaction. Now, I want to address something that many of you might be feeling, the fear of being alone. In our hyper-connected world, silence can feel isolating. But I want you to understand that there's a profound difference between being alone and being lonely. When you embrace silence, you're not isolating yourself from others. You're connecting more deeply with yourself. And when you're deeply connected with yourself, you're able to form more authentic, more meaningful connections with others. Think about it. How many of your relationships are based on shared noise? On gossip, on complaining, on surface level chatter? Now, how many are based on deep understanding, on genuine sharing, on comfortable silence? Which ones are more fulfilling? When you're comfortable with silence, you create space in your relationships for depth and authenticity. You're not afraid of pauses in conversation. You're not compelled to fill every moment with words. You can simply be present, fully engaged, truly listening. And here's something beautiful. When you operate from this place of inner silence, you naturally attract people who resonate with that energy. You draw in those who are also seeking depth, authenticity, and meaningful connection. Your relationships become richer, more fulfilling, more aligned with your true self. Now let's talk about purpose. Many of you might be searching for your purpose, wondering what you're meant to do with your life. But here's the truth. Your purpose isn't something you find out there in the noise of the world. It's something you discover in the silence of your own heart. In the quiet moments, when you're free from the expectations and opinions of others, you can hear the whispers of your soul. You can feel the pull of your true calling. You can connect with that deep inner knowing of what truly matters to you. Your purpose isn't about what you do. It's about who you are. It's about the unique way you express your essence in the world, and to discover that you need silence. You need space for self-reflection, for introspection, for deep listening. When you operate from a place of purpose, everything changes. Your work becomes more than just a job. It becomes a calling. Your relationships become more than just connections. They become expressions of your deepest value. Your life becomes more than just a series of events. It becomes a meaningful journey. But here's the key. Your purpose isn't something static. It's not something you discover once and then you're done. It's something that unfolds, that evolves as you grow and change. And to stay connected with it, you need to regularly return to silence. They need to continually create space to listen to your inner wisdom. Now, I want to address something that many of you might be struggling with: the addiction to busyness. In our society, there's often a glorification of being busy. We wear our packed schedules like badges of honor. We equate activity with productivity, noise with importance. But I'm here to tell you that true productivity, true importance, comes from a place of stillness. It comes from being selective about where you put your energy, about what you give your attention to. It comes from doing less, but doing it with full presence and intention. When you embrace silence, you break free from the addiction to busyness. You start to value quality over quantity. You start to measure your life not by how much you do, but by how aligned your actions are with your values and purpose. And here's the paradox. When you slow down, when you create space for silence, you actually become more effective. You make better decisions. You see opportunities that you might have missed in the rush. You bring your full creativity and intelligence to each task. Think about it like this. When you're constantly busy, constantly in motion, you're like a blurred photograph. But when you slow down, when you create moments of stillness, you come into focus. The picture of your life becomes clearer, sharper, more beautiful. Now, as we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with a challenge. I challenge you to make silence a daily practice in your life. Start small if you need to. Maybe it's 5 minutes of quiet reflection in the morning. Maybe it's a silent walk in nature. Maybe it's turning off all devices for an hour each evening. Whatever form it takes, give yourself the gift of silence. Create space in your life for stillness, for reflection, for deep listening. And watch how it transforms you. Watch how it clarifies your thoughts, deepens your relationships, enhances your creativity, and connects you with your true purpose. Remember, in embracing silence, you're not retreating from life. You're not hiding from the world. You're preparing yourself to engage with life more fully, more authentically, more creating a foundation of inner strength and clarity that will support you in everything you do. So go forth, my friends. Embrace the power of silence. Let it guide you, strengthen you, transform you. Let it lead you to everything you've ever wanted in life. Because in the silence, you'll find your true voice. In the stillness, you'll discover your true power. In the quiet, you'll hear the whispers of your destiny calling you forward. And as you step into this new way of being, know that you carry within you the potential to change not just your own life, but the world around you. For when you operate from a place of inner silence and strength, you become a force for positive change. You become a beacon of peace in a noisy world. You become a living example of what's possible when we dare to be still, to listen deeply, to live authentically. So here's to your journey into silence. Here's to the amazing discoveries you'll make, the incredible growth you'll experience, the profound impact you'll have. Here's to you, embracing your true power, living your true purpose, and creating a life of deep fulfillment and lasting success. Remember, in the silence, you'll find everything. In the stillness, you'll become everything you're meant to be. So be silent, my friends. Be still and watch as the whole world opens up before you.